Hello one, hello all. It's your girl Nicole Banister, aka NIKKI BANZ, and you are back for another episode of NIKKI BANZ Live. Woohoo! Welcome one, welcome all. What a treat to have you all here this Tuesday for NIKKI BANZ Live. I know I pushed back the start time a little bit. We're about an hour and 15 minutes later than normal, but we had to do that because our guest today literally just got off the radio. Oh my goodness gracious, it's going to be such a treat today. I am so excited. We're taking it back to Cape Town, Kaapstad's finest. We've got Chad Saaiman as our guest tonight. I am so incredibly excited to be chatting with Chad tonight. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's going to be fun. We're going to talk about singing, songwriting, radio hosting, and all the good things. This is actually my third guest ever from South Africa. First off, I had the boy Steven Gessie, the actor and the activist. I had K-Easy, who's a DJ and also on the radio, and now keeping it here in Cape Town, Chad Saaiman. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be fantastic. But first off, let me just say that it's December here in Cape Town. December! Now, I was having this hilarious time trying to explain to my colleagues who are predominantly across the Asian continent. I was having a very funny time trying to explain to them the concept of December. So let me try and break it down for y'all here on NIKKI BANZ Live. December is not the same as December. December is a month, but December is a lifestyle. It's an energy. It's a feeling. It's a mood. December is just, it's honestly, it's a verb. I feel like here in South Africa, here in Cape Town, we've been Decembering since like November 15th. Basically, that's basically when we start to, get into the holiday spirit, get the holiday festivities going. The sun comes out, everybody comes out to play, we start to party a little bit. And speaking of parties, I have to give a shout out for my Christmas party. Folks, if you're in Cape Town, South Africa on December 25th, Christmas Day, you've got to come to my Christmas party. Ho, ho, ho! Yes. I see my girl Rue in the chat. Key December, boss. Yes, indeed, Rue, you are correct. I am hosting a Christmas party alongside Edition Events in Woodstock, December 25th, starting at 4 p.m. and going up until curfew. All COVID protocols will be adhered to. We've got an incredible DJ set, an incredible lineup. We've got Dawson. We've got the Dean of Soul. We've got Queasy. We've got Willie Monfrey. It's going to be an incredible afternoon. So party people, y'all got to go have your Christmas lunch with your family. Be all nice, be wholesome, eat that turkey, eat that ham, eat those sweet potatoes, that beetroot, whatever you eating for that, December spirit. And then you're going to come to my Christmas party afterward. Peep the link in my bio, party people, to get your tickets for ho, ho, ho. All right, friends. Well, we're just waiting for the one and only Chad Saaiman to hop on the live tonight. Like I said, the boy literally just hopped off the radio. Chad Saaiman is a singer, a songwriter, and a radio personality based here in Cape Town, South Africa. And every Monday through Thursday during the week from 6 to 9 p.m., he's literally hosting his own radio show called Saaiman Says, which is incredible. So that's why we pushed it back a little bit tonight. But we know he's going to join us in just a moment. It's going to be amazing. In the meantime, for those of you tuning in here on IG Live, drop me some comments in the chat. Where are you coming from? What are you excited about? Do you have the December party vibes going on? Give me all the deets. Give me all the tea. I want to read it. I'm so happy that I have the chat box back, y'all. I'm telling you, it was a struggle. It was a proper struggle when I couldn't see who was joining. I couldn't see what people were commenting. I was just sitting here like, oh man, I'm trying to have this live show and have engagement with my live audience here on Instagram, but I couldn't even see any of the comments. But I can see them now. So drop some comments. Say what's up. I'm trying to see all y'all cool kids. Oh my goodness gracious. Thank you all for being here on NIKKI BANZ Live. We do this every single Tuesday, my live show where we bring on your favorite artists, actors, entertainers, activists, and influencers from across the globe to have a chat with you all, get down to the real talk, the nitty gritty, not just talking about the glitz and the fame and the glam. We're not just talking about all that here on NIKKI BANZ Live. We want to get to the real stuff. What are people's passions? What makes people just do the things that they love to do, and how do they leverage their platforms and their status for good in the world and for all the cool things that we do. So I'm just saying that's what we about here on NIKKI BANZ Live. Catch us every single Tuesday with another amazing guest from an amazing country. But like I said, tonight we're keeping it here right in Cape Town, right here in Kaapstad with the boy Chad Saaiman. And I think our guest of the hour has arrived. I'm so excited. It's going to be a great conversation. I'm telling you, he's on the radio talking to people, doing interviews for a living. So, you know, when I interview somebody like that, you know it's just going to be an incredible conversation. It's just going to flow. It's going to be great. So with that being said, let me see if I can invite him on right now and get this thing going. You know, I like to add a little drum roll every time I'm bringing my guest on. So I'm gonna get my little drum roll going and invite him to join. Here we go, party people. Keeping my fingers crossed. Exciting. Hey!
How are you?
Hello there!
Greetings, one and all. Hope you guys are well. How's the day been? What's happening? Thanks for having me, firstly. Super happy to be here.
Oh my gosh, of course, Chad. Welcome to NIKKI BANZ Live. I'm so excited to have you here. Thanks for hopping on like immediately after your show. This is going to be like 4 hours straight of talking for you. You're doing incredible.
Well, I mean, I guess, you know, when something is a priority to handle, and when there's a moment to be able to create some impact and a moment to be able to share, whether it's music or conversation, I'm always down for it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And I'm honored to have you here on the show today, Chad. I normally like to start off NIKKI BANZ Live by kind of just telling the people who are here on the live, or if you're watching the rerun on YouTube, I like to tell people how I know the guests that I have on. And I feel like for you and me, it was so funny because it's just been like really organic over the years in Cape Town. Like I would just see you at Coco. I would see you hosting R&B nights at Souk.
At Souk,
I bumped into you doing like a total sports activation for Mandela Day, you know? So it's just always been like these worlds, like just seeing you out and about. And now here we are.
Absolutely, man. I think, you know, especially in a town like Cape Town, there's a whole lot of things going on, but it's also such a small place, and it's so easy for us to connect in so many ways. But you'll find you always reconnect to the same people, you know, with the energy vibes kind of connecting across different platforms and different ways of seeing each other. So yeah, man, it's always good to see you.
Hey, likewise. And I'm so excited to get to know you better tonight on the show. We're going to ask you all the questions today. And for those of you who are tuning in live on Instagram, you too can ask your favorite friend here, Chad Saaiman, some questions. If you look on the bottom of your screen on Instagram, there's a little thought bubble with a question mark. You can tap on that. You can type in questions for Chad. And at the end, like the last 10, 15 minutes, I promise I will ask Chad all of your questions. So go ahead and use that chat box feature. Use that little question mark. Use that little bubble there, and we will make sure to get your questions answered. So, Chad, I know we've been talking about Cape Town a little bit. So are you born and bred Cape Townian?
Absolutely, yeah. I was born in Mitchell's Plain, and I grew up in Crawford and Athlone. And yeah, man, I'm from here 100%. I lived in Joburg for a bit. I lived in Spain for a bit when I was about, I think that was about 17 years ago. But yeah, man, I think, you know, I'm from this place, and I think more often than not, when you meet people, especially in your circles, you know, everyone is coming from somewhere, you know, and I'm from here, man. I'm nowhere else.
I love it. Born and bred, Cape Town in the house. So when you meet people like me, you know, obviously you can hear my American accent. I'm from the United States originally. Been living in Cape Town for a really long time, but I wasn't born here. I wasn't raised here. When you meet people who are not from Cape Town, how do you describe this beautiful city to them? What do you say to people about the mother city?
I say I mean, it's a melting pot of I think diversity, because you can experience so many different things in different spaces within the same city. And I'm sure you've experienced this. And when I talk about the different things, I talk about there's a lot of high highs and also a lot of low lows. So you get to see places with a lot of struggle, and you also get to see places with a lot of, I guess, joy and wealth. And they like sometimes 15 meters, 15 kilometers, or 10 kilometers, or 5 kilometers apart. But there's a thread that runs through the place if you connect to the right kind of people. And that's just, I think there's just good vibes across the board, man. And I think so many of us can be from so many different places, but we can still connect. I think when you know the values are aligned, and that's how I describe the place. And I think, you know, it's always good to get to meet new people, especially in Cape Town. And everyone has a good story, man. And especially Cape Townians, like we love telling stories because we love it, man. We love it. So that's what I love most about Cape Town, and people are just great storytellers.
Oh my goodness. Well, you're one of the best storytellers out there, Chad. You do it on the radio, you do it in your songs, in your music. So talk to us a little bit about how you got into the music industry. Has music always been your passion? Did you pivot from somewhere else? Talk to us about the journey.
So, you know, for me, I think I was always a creative type of kid, and the stories I hear about when I was growing up, I was always, you know, doing puppet shows or doing tap dancing or just doing things to entertain people. But my first actual love is football, is soccer. And that was my dream, like until I was about, I think until I was about 20 years old, or 18 or 19. I thought that I was going to play soccer and that was going to be my life. And that was just it. I was going to play in England. That was what I thought. And my father played, my brother played, my uncles played, my cousins played. Some of them played pro, some played semi-pro. So it's not like it was like impossible. It was almost slightly genetic, if that makes any sense. And that was my journey. And I was disciplined. I was focused. I worked hard. You know, if I had a game on a Saturday, I polished my boots on a Friday night. And I think all those disciplines carried with me into the entertainment industry. And when I started singing, I was probably about 17 years old. And from the very first time I performed at school, in Athlone at Garlandale High, I knew that this was going to be my career. The very day I sang for the first time, I was like, oh, okay, this is new. And the first thing I thought was like, what about soccer? Immediately, because I just had an idea based on the response that something was going to happen. And I mean, obviously we're talking about a while ago, so it's pretty great to have known that I've had a career for that long, man. And it's always exciting because it's never a dull day. But I think the journey started at school, you know, kind of moving from soccer into music.
Wow. And when you were a teenager, nonetheless, I mean, to be on stage in high school, you even gave a shout out to your high school. Like, that's just incredible for you to be on stage there and to recognize at such a young age that this was the thing that you wanted to do, despite having other passions, you know, like soccer, like football. That's pretty incredible. I feel like most people don't find their calling until much later in life.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, like more and more I realized as an adult that as a kid, I was so blessed and so lucky to find my path and find my passion in my in my teens. And like still be doing it for a long time. I mean, when I was on air yesterday, I spoke about something, and it was something that Kaizi spoke about. I mean, you know, Kaizi, and he was saying he had this theme called I Was Then and I Am Now. And they asked me like, Chad, okay, so what were you then? And then I was like, I was a kid trying to get on the radio with my songs. And now 15 years later, from the first time that my first single played on Good Hope FM, for example, I had a 15-year music career, and I'm on the station that I sat in with my demo. It's like, in that moment, I'm just like, is this really happening?
Oh,
you know?
my gosh. I gotta give you the DJ horn for that one.
Absolutely. Bow, 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 bow.
Ja, 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 ja. That's incredible. Like, how, what
Yeah,
a
yeah,
beautiful full circle moment for you. Because you're
yeah,
right. It's not
yeah,
just your hit, your chart topping songs on the radio. It's actually you and your voice and sharing this your music, your sound, other artists that you like and you're trying to put on. And I think that's been a
yeah,
pretty consistent theme of what you've been trying to do throughout your career in the music industry, right? Like you don't even just
yeah.
perform by yourself. You even
No.
perform with other people too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tell us about all the different like collaborations. Talk to us about the black ties. Like you got
There's
all
a
sorts of
lot.
things
There's
going
so
on.
man, there's so many things. Like, and just before I answer your question, there's some people in the comments here that I just want to send a shout out to. So there's Dale Peterson, who was at high school with me. There's Darren Peterson, who was one of my first drummers in my band. Like when I started, I'm talking about when I started out. We're talking over 10 years ago. And then there's also Lester Hine, who's in there as well. And Lester was one of the guys that co-founded the record label that we had at that time called Stereotype Records that basically launched my entire career. And also launched the guys of the Black Ties and so forth. So I just needed to send that shout out to the guys in the comments. But to answer your question,
Yes.
man, I think you know I was quite lucky, especially to meet Lloyd and Kino early on in my career because I think we had become friends and we sang together. And I think when you have friendship at the core of performing in a group as the Black Ties, I think it's so important to have that foundational element. This New Year's Eve, myself, Lloyd, and Kino as the Black Ties, we celebrate 15 years of singing together.
Wow.
And
15.
like, not a lot of groups can last for that long.
Not at all. Like, not at
Yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, there are so
Wow.
many. Yeah, and I think just the foundational elements of us becoming friends and getting to sing together and then building careers and businesses around that. It's been great, man. I've gotten to perform with so many people over the years. I got to work with so many great guys, youngster CPT, DJ Kent. I mean, there's so many. It's so hard to single it out, but I think there's been so many great moments for me, and no career I've come to learn has a true pinnacle or it doesn't have that true
Mm.
moment because it's a combination of moments. Some moments are high and some are low, but any great career is a combination of all those moments, man.
I like that you said that because I think, it becomes really easy to look at artists or to look at people who are successful and say, okay, this one collaboration, that was the one, or this one performance, that was the one. But you're absolutely right. It is a journey. It ebbs and flows. It's this amalgamation of all these different moments. But I feel like one of the consistent things I'm kind of hearing from you, Chad, is about relationships, like
Yeah,
relationships with friends,
yeah,
and I know you're super tight with your family as well.
yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about like these relationships that you have either with friends or with family and how that either like how that supports your career, your projects, your ambitions and everything.
I think having a strong family foundation. I when I wanted to do music, what my dad said to me was, he's like, you know what, Chad, that's cool, you can go do that, but you gotta go study, go get something, go get a degree, do your thing, and then do whatever you want. And at first I was like, oh, but I know I want to do music, but I think it was probably some of the best advice that he gave me. And that allowed me to go to university. And I mean, we're talking about being one of only a few people at that time in our family that had a tertiary education at that point.
Wow.
Um, and I think it was and you don't look at it like that when you're a kid because you're just like, I want to do my thing, I want to sing. And I mean, during my studies, I was performing sometimes 6 nights a week. And a lot of people,
Wow.
no, and I was playing soccer, so I was playing football, probably about training thrice a week, playing on a Saturday. I was performing about 5 to 6 nights a week, and I was studying full time during the day, and I apparently had a life. And like, I need to, and I'm so glad we're talking about this because there are times when now I get busy and I'm just like, ugh, like I need a break sometimes, like let me go take some deep breaths on the prom or something. But it's a good reminder to know that, I come from being busy, the school of being busy.
Mm.
That's where I was all the years, man. Until my brother told me one day, and he's been an important part of my career and my life. And he said, Chad, I feel like you're doing so many things that you are going to become a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And
Mm.
when he said that to me, I was like, okay, cool. Like, and that's when I made the decision to stop playing soccer, and just focus on music.
Wow, wow. And soccer was such an integral part of your life and your
Absolutely,
journey up to that
yeah,
point. It's
yeah.
hard to say no to the things that we love. I mean, even for me, like I played really competitive basketball my
Okay,
whole life,
yeah,
and so like, for me, it was like, okay, do I want to try and play basketball in tertiary, or am I going
yeah,
to focus on studies and social impact and community engagement,
yeah.
these things that I feel are my passion. And it's hard to like say bye to that
And
thing. But Chad,
and that's it.
it seems like you're still pretty like heavily involved in the soccer world though. Like we know you got
I,
some soccer tournaments out there. Like it's not,
I
it
do.
wasn't goodbye forever.
No, no, no. It was more like a so long farewell. Uh, but yeah, I'm still connected to football. I still play socially. I still host a tournament, as you know, once a year. And I think it's such it's in my blood, and there's not much I can do about that. I love it. I get to call, I get to call on a lot of my friends, and we get to play football, and that's how we stay connected. Because in this day and age, man, we all getting we older. Some of us have families. We don't get to see each other as much. And I see a comment here saying stepovers and screamers on the regular from Hanif, who I've gotten to play soccer alongside another great player, ex-pro on that side. So it's always cool to connect with people. I think when you walk on the soccer field, the thing I love the most is that there's no judgment, and there's the sense of, you know what, if the game's going to get tough and someone's going to kick me, they're going to kick me. And I respect that because I'm going to be able to take it. And I think there's just that sense of like how I grew up and because I mean, we would play at Garlandale High, and we would have a soccer ball, and we would play football. And let's say the ball would burst, or it would get kicked into the highway and it would go. Then we take a tennis ball and we play with a tennis ball. And
Oh my God.
let's say the tennis ball got taken out or something. Then we would take what do you call it? I think you call it a pine cone, right? We take a pine cone, and we'd wrap the pine cone in sellotape, and we just
Oh my
we just
gosh.
wrap the pine cone, and we would then play with the pine cone because the game had
Oh
to
my
go
gosh.
on. And I
The,
think you take
the
those
game
things with
must
you,
go
man.
on.
Yeah, you take it all
Wow.
with you, and I've realized the mentality I have. Soccer is such a massive part of why I think my entertainment career has worked as well and has lasted as long.
I mean, absolutely. Like you talking about wrapping a pine cone in sellotape and playing with it. I'm like, that is creativity and resilience to the next level. And like, yeah, you learn those things in sports. You learn how to
Yeah,
be resilient. And
yeah,
Cape Town in particular, like one of the things I love most about this city is how creative people are. If
yeah,
people don't want to take traditional paths, or they can't get jobs from the government or from corporates, they're just like, nope, I'm going to start my own thing. I'm going to start my own fashion label. I'm going to be a singer, do my own thing, start my own label, my own agency. And I think like that really culminates looking at your life and all the different sorts of paths that you've taken, music and radio and the talent agency, and like still
yeah.
hosting these like fives tournaments. We know that you also do like social impact work. Like it's just this intersection of being like, I'm gonna do whatever I want, even if you are the jack of all trades. Like you're mastering all of them pretty well, I think.
Thank you, thank you. And you know what? I think all the things you mentioned now, they all have one thing in common. They all make a difference to the person on the other side. um, Whether
Mm.
it's music, whether it's the love of sport, whether it's an event, whether it's a song playing on the radio or a performance, or whether I release a song. And I think for me that has been probably the core value, uh, to be able to create a reaction, a positive one, a smile, a dance, or a laugh or something. And I think when you can, I'm so lucky to have music because it's probably the biggest universal tool to be able to touch people. And remember, we were on the music side when we were still printing CDs and going out to the club and selling CDs, and we would like we drop an album. No, no man, we would drop an
Oh my
album.
gosh.
No, we would drop an album, right? And then we would just perform in every club in Cape Town. And we would just go boom, boom. And you would sing, you would go up, and you'd be like in any hood, any club, you'd go there and you would go in there, perform your songs, sell your CDs, boom, boom, and then you move on. So I think to have kind of existed in the music industry slightly, before, I guess I would say we live in more of a digital space now, but before the digital space, we were still doing it. And when the digital space came, we were able to adapt because we had the right people in the team, guys like Lester Hine. I remember Lester telling me in 2000 and it must have been 2008 or 7. He was like, Chad, you got to get on Twitter, or Chad, you got to get on this thing. Like, yeah, let me just set you up. And he actually just commented there, like Stone's Kayla, that's Kale's River, like on an empty Tuesday, and you would sing and there'd be like 5, 10 people there, but you'd go, man.
Yeah,
You
you
go.
still
Yeah.
you gotta put on that show. No, and I saw
Ye-
somebody else comment on the chat. I gotta
Yeah.
say, I too gotta give a shout out to all your fans. Like everybody's commenting, your friends, your
Yeah.
homies. Shout out everybody
Yeah.
here on the IG live. Yo, it's so good having y'all here. Thanks for all the comments and the
Yeah.
love. But I saw somebody comment too when you were talking about, this career, this longevity you've had in the industry. Somebody talked about the dreads because
Yeah.
Chad,
Yeah. Yeah.
even the
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
the
I
way
used to
I
have
went,
those.
the way I went I went like I went in like a deep black hole trying to, listen to all your music to get prepped for this interview, watching old interviews on Espresso Show. And I saw you with those dreads. I was like, hold up.
I was coming through with that, that young Eric Benet.
You look just like him, yo. It was incredible.
So I think my hair part was such a crazy one because I didn't know what to do with my hair, man. Like at that time, all the kids had like, spikes or like long hair or mushrooms, and my stand wasn't allowing me the versatility, back then. And you were a kid, man. And you were a kid, so I was like, wait, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grow some dreadlocks, and I'm just gonna keep them neat. I'm gonna keep them tidy. I'm gonna go out to Jabu Stone in Mowbray, and they're gonna tighten me up each week. And I can tell you, my dads, they my dads, they smelled good. They were healthy. They were clean.
Yay!
And I was, yeah. I think like, eventually I gave them to my sister, and I was like, Carrie, to my baby sister, I was like, listen, because there was an area where you could like really sell deadlocks, right? And it was a big thing in Joburg, especially because I'd lived there, and I had good dead. So it means you could sell it. You could make like easily 5 to 8K selling good deadlocks. And
Okay.
so I give it to my sister, and I'm like, Carrie, can you please sell my deads for me in your own time? She's like, cool, 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 cool. I got you. I got you. I come back to Cape Town a few months later. She walks in and she's got my dreadlocks in her head. And she kept them.
Oh, oh,
And that was a look for years, man. And I was like, you know what?
I love that. It's a family affair. I got the
Yeah.
dreads. Now you get the dreads. Yo, claps for your sister. That is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Shout out, baby sis.
Yeah, shout out to her, man.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're talking about your baby sister now. We talked a little bit about family before, but we know that you are father of the year over here. We see all these cute pictures, daddy-daughter vibes. I even bumped into you and your daughter at
Yeah,
Bootleggers
yeah.
the other day.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
love it. Tell us. Tell us about this relationship that you have with your daughter. Why it's important for you to share that with the
Yeah.
world?
I think first and foremost, like, as a father, a lot of the time, your role and the impact you make on your kid isn't always a public thing, man. I mean, when we talk about our dads, a lot of the time, they were always quiet, but they always just kept focused on work and just had that sense of, that sense of protection and all those things. And I think now we live in a new era where, for years. My daughter's 11 now, and I know for a big part of her childhood, it was often me and her, because we co-parent, myself and her mom, and I. For that period, it would be the two of us. So we became so close in a way where she would be able to tell me things that she could tell her mom. And I guess those things weren't normal, the way we grew up. Because I know as a kid, there's things I would tell my mom or I would tell my dad, but generally I wouldn't tell them the same things. And I think we wanted to cultivate an environment for her where she could speak to me in the same way she could speak to her mother. And I mean, now, it's exactly that way. And, you get out, you learn how to do your daughter's hair. You learn how to, I remember one day she was small and she stood in front of the mirror in the bathroom and she said, "Dad, can you please make me plaits?" And I was like, "Yeah, cool." And I took my phone and I put it behind her and I went onto YouTube and I put the sound off and I just started doing her hair. And she was like, "Wow, Dad, that wasn't how to do that." And I think you just learn, man. As a dad, you just adapt. And I think I've loved our journey. She just got her results. She's going to grade 6, and we're super proud of her. And man, she's cool, man. She's cool, and she's just a cool kid. I love the things I see in her, and her potential is enormous. Potential's enormous.
That is so beautiful. I mean, if she's your daughter, she must be a cool kid because you're pretty cool yourself, I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Of course, of course. I'm glad the next generation is living up to the standards,
You know what? The environment that we want to cultivate for them, they will not only live up to the standards, they will live and go beyond and create and set new bars, because the opportunities that we try and create for our kids, they will be greater than the opportunities we had. And certainly for her, the things she's experienced are way beyond the things I experienced at her age. The kind of school she goes to, the network she has at the age of 11. I was telling a friend of mine this, I think it was earlier this year. She was still 10 years old. And I remember she screen grabbed and sent me Property 24 screen grabs, right? And she had this project at school for a subject called a unit of inquiry, which is UOI. It was new to me as well. And
I'm like, what is that?
Sorry.
Sorry.
And then she's like, "Dad, this is a project that I have, and we have a budget, and we have to figure out where we're gonna live, and this is why we're gonna live in this area. This is how much we're spending on our rent. This is what we're spending on petrol. This is what we're spending on groceries." And that's Property 24 screen grabs at 10 years old. And I think that's the narrative that we're carrying, because I learned all these things so late in my life, and we always needed to be extraordinary in ordinary environments. So we want to just give her, so we want to give the next generation a better shot.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I love what you just said there, Chad, that we have to be extraordinary in ordinary environments. But I think all of that hustle, all of that resilience has brought us to the point where we can let the next generation exceed our even wildest dreams. I feel like oftentimes, especially on Instagram, especially for people of color, that like phrase goes around that, like, I am my ancestors' wildest dreams, and it's absolutely true. It's the best time in our entire lives to be young, brilliant, beautiful people of color out here shining and thriving, and to be able to then share that to then share that with our kids, with the next generation, I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
Wow, like
I
what
think
an
you need some. I
amazing
think you need some
opportunity.
horns. You need some horns for that statement, man.
Hey.
You definitely do. Yeah, man. I love that. I just love what you said now because I think, it's so important, representation and just us, us knowing like we can do more than the generations before us, but go out with some of the fundamentals that they gave us. And I think that balance is important.
100%, 100%. I mean, it's all about balance in this life. The yin and the
Yeah.
yang,
Yeah.
the turn up and then the rest.
Yo, I can do with some of the rest, but it's coming up. It's coming up.
It's
We
coming down.
it's season time now, so we busy. But I know in just from Jan I get to like just gear down, and I think if there's anything I learned over the pandemic period, it was how important rest is because I never thought about rest. I just used to go and go because like we just have to go. And when we had to slow down, I think that's when I learned how important it is.
I mean, I think it forced a lot of us to slow down in more ways than one. Did you
Yeah.
find that there are certain things, like are there certain things now that you really are intentional about when you're trying to rest, when you're trying to recharge? Are there like certain things that you do? Like, do you do yoga? Do you take long walks? Do you like get a massage? Like what's your routine?
Well, well, I think the one thing, I've become a lot more conscious around who I spend my time with. That's the one thing. I have a routine. I mean, if you really want to know my routine, so my morning routine, I would wake up, I'd say a prayer, just get gratitude for the day. Then I would kind of head to the floor and I would just stretch a bit, and then I would go into a like a light ab workout. Well, I mean,
Okay, okay.
I'm still sleeping at that time, so I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. And and then I just try and be conscious of for a few minutes of what my day looks like. This is while I'm on the floor, and just take a moment to just feel my surroundings. And then I head out into the rest of the place and take my vitamins. I have my apple cider vinegar with some cayenne pepper and
Okay.
some turmeric and a little bit of orange juice, just boom for that boost. And then I have my first coffee for the
Ooh.
day. Coffee is important in my life. Um, yeah, and then I generally will either head into work, open my laptop, get into. So there's a lot of things that happen in the background, business, admin, across the board, and then there's the creative side, and I mean that's how I start my day. And I think the start
Mm.
is quite an important part of it. Yeah.
Yes, the start of the day sets the tone for the entire rest of the
Yeah.
day. So I hope
Yeah.
all y'all on this live, all y'all watching the rerun on YouTube, y'all better be taking notes. That little orange juice, turmeric, little cayenne. I'm ready for that. I
Yeah,
need a
yeah,
shot of
yeah.
that. That's about to be part
Yeah.
of my routine, Chad. I might have
Do
to
it,
steal
man.
that
Do
one.
it. Like, do it. Look here. Do it. I swear.
Yeah,
I feel
hey,
good. Like,
look at the
and
skin.
look. I feel good. I think, I feel like I've been pretty consistent with it, and I think that discipline allows me to let it flow into the rest of the day. And there's a saying that goes, "Good habits trigger good habits." So I try
Mm.
and start with that. Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. One of the things that I started doing in this past year, part of my morning routine, is I've been taking cold water dips in the Atlantic. So
Ooh,
I've been
yeah.
I've been going and sitting in the Atlantic for 20, 30 minutes in the morning. I don't do it every morning, but I
Same.
try and do it at least once or twice a week. Ooh, I'm
Yeah.
telling y'all, that's changed my life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that happens. Like I try and do it. I think of late we've been doing it once a week. And it's brilliant, man. And also like in the shower, obviously you can do it in a shorter time because I mean we want to be conscious around the water
Right.
consumption. But in the same breath, like when you go out there, there's one or two tidal pools on the prom, and you just get it, and it's so cold. But I think it's that discipline of it's obviously the breathing combined with the cold water therapy for recovery. And I think it's just also taking that step psychologically. When you take a step into cold water that is that cold and everything is telling you not to do it, but you do it. When you take that step, I think psychologically it just gives you that edge to the rest of your day or the rest of the things you're going to face during that day, man. So yeah, I'm sure I'll see you somewhere down here, man.
I know, I know. We'll have to link up for a little ice dip. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Okay, so yeah, so we got ice dips, we got stretching, we got a little orange turmeric cayenne shot. So we're you're getting all the life advice here from Chad Saaiman today. I
Look,
love it.
you know, I learn as I go along, and I think you kind of figure out what works for you because you know we can't always copy and paste, but it's definitely worth trying all the good things, man. Another thing, you know, with the cold water therapy, another thing that I've also started working on was not only breathe. I think breathing has become such a big a part of it. So breathing, obviously, when running or when training breathing sometimes just for peace of mind, just to kind of take a moment out of the day now and then. I'll just go outside and just take a few breaths and just kind of calm, you know, because sometimes we get caught up and I'm very active when it comes to my mind and work and all those things. So it's easy for me to get caught up in my own head. So I just need those breaks. And we always trying to improve, man, because nobody's perfect and we all go through tough times and sometimes, you know, your tough time might not align with the next person's tough time, but we all go through it. We all go through it, but it's about how we recover and how we identify the triggers that lead to these things. And it's about, you know, those kind of things and unlearning some of the things that we indoctrinated subconsciously when we grew up. I think there's so much, man, and I'm still learning. I'm an adult. I'm still learning.
Honestly, Chad, I feel the exact same way. I mean, you talked a little bit about how the pandemic really forced us all to slow down. Our circles got tighter. We set boundaries on friendships and relationships. Maybe even had to end some of them. But also just like breathing, being one with yourself, recognizing those triggers, unblocking past trauma. It's so interesting because I feel like that this conversation that we're having now is not one that was like widely discussed even like 2 years ago, 5 years ago. So the fact that like so many people are now really being intentional about their growth, about their regeneration, about sort of like healing the trauma and growing past it and moving through it. It's pretty incredible that like that folks are really being intentional about this. Because for me, it's like it's the only way we're gonna succeed and keep operating at this level.
And I think you make so much sense with that statement because I think before it always had a stigma. There was a stigma where, you know, you don't want to, you just need to be strong. You know, we must just be strong. You know, what do you, you know, like, what do you mean you're taking a day off because you're feeling overwhelmed? Like, you know, before we wouldn't like just freely use these words, you know, they were almost a taboo. And I think it's part of how we grew up because a lot of the time, especially here, I know, you know, our fathers and our uncles and our grandfathers, you know, you were generally taught to be, you know, be strong, you know. You know, my dad's nickname, because he played football, my dad's nickname was Easter, and that means iron, right? He was tough. He was hard.
Wow.
He was a brilliant defender. His nickname was Easter, and I think, like, you know, that's just the generation they were. And I mean, obviously, it's a completely different thing now. You know, my dad is one of my closest family members. We have a great, you know, he's probably one of my biggest supporters, man. Like, you know, I would tell you something quick. Like, he literally, like, he listens to the radio show, and when I call him, he'll be like, "Oh, Chad, I saw you. You know, I listened last night, and you played some John Legend." And then he would say the name of the song, and he'd say, "Oh, you played some, you know, Earth, Wind and Fire and Lucky Day." And then eventually I was like, "Daddy, like, how do you know?" And then I found out he writes down the songs that I mention, so that when we speak, he can talk to me about the music, man. And I was just like, that's Aster, that's my dad, you know.
Oh, shout out dad, shout out
Yeah,
pops.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Shout
that's
out to him, man.
that's so special to have a
Yeah,
father who is
yeah,
so invested, so
yeah,
involved, really there. Like there's so many people out there who don't have dads in their lives like
yeah,
that. So for you to be like fully grown, you grown now, you grown, you
yeah, yeah.
successful, and dad is still there,
It's
still
still there,
supporting, and we
man.
know the rest of the family is too. That's
Yeah,
beautiful. That's so
yeah.
beautiful.
And I think it's so important because it shows, like, people underestimate a foundation, a family foundation to build a career. People underestimate that phone call you can make to your
Mm.
sister. Like, I chat to my sister sometimes for like 40 minutes and we'll just chat.
Wow.
A friend of mine
Wow.
just commented here. His name's Ryan Brand. He said, shout out to AB. So AB's my dad, AB Saaiman, and Ryan Brand and I, we grew up together. I think we've been friends for over 30 years, I think. Yeah, yeah. Myself and
Wow.
Ryan. So he knows my dad, and I think when you know my dad back then and you hear the stories now, you get to understand that we all evolve and we all grow, man, in different ways.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we should grow. We have to shift, we have to change. The world changes, we change. Even the conversation that we're having now, sitting here on Instagram live, doing a live
Like
video
what?
chat,
Yeah,
it's just crazy. The world the
yeah.
world is changing and evolving, and we have to grow with it. And it's good when people change, with the
Yeah, of
time.
course. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So we have about 15 minutes left of the show. For everybody watching NIKKI BANZ live here on Instagram Live, you can ask Chad some questions. I see we have a couple questions already. There's a little thought bubble at the bottom with a question mark in it. You can click on that, type of question. I'll ask Chad a question for you. But before we start answering some of the questions from the fans, and you've had so many amazing friends, fans, family who have
Yeah.
shown up here today, which is just like so incredible. The love is just like unbelievable. I guess
Yeah.
the last question I'll just ask you is talk to us about what's next, what's coming up for you, what's on the horizon. We know you just dropped a new single. Tell us about that. Give us a little preview of what the next month and the next year is looking like.
Okay, so I mean, I dropped the single Peachy about a week and a half ago. Shout out to everyone that streamed it, everyone that has it on repeat. A shout out to all the radio stations playing it, and if you're shazamming it or you're sharing it with your homies, thank you so much. I think my music journey over the pandemic has been a bit different because I was consistently releasing music until the
Mm,
pandemic hit, and things changed. But then I think we all needed to do some introspection, and not just, you realize sometimes you're just doing things based on this calendar you have in your mind, and I needed to do some introspection and just take a few breaks with music. And I actually ended up writing less music over the pandemic, which is
okay.
weird because you would think with more time meant more
Right.
writing. But I think I took more time just to look at myself in the mirror and be like, Chad, okay, cool. Like, what are the things that truly, represent what you want to do? What are the things that you feel? What are the things you're doing by default? Or what are the things that you're leaving out that you actually are passionate about? So I needed to relook at all those things. And also my career obviously took a pivot with radio. And I think I just put in a lot of hours with that because for the first year I had a weekend show, and now in my second year I have 5 days a week, and that has
Wow.
taken a lot of focus and time. But man, I still got to drop a song now, and the response has been amazing. We're getting on the playlist. We actually on the funny one because I heard when I joined you said something about December. Um,
Yeah.
so I actually got into this one playlist called Kid December, which is like a
Hey.
local, it's a local playlist. And I saw Kaya, this other homie, I don't know if you know Kaya, he tweeted the other day and he was like, he feels like Cape Town is the capital of December. Uh, so you
It
you
is. It
so,
is.
so when I got onto that playlist, I was like, yeah, 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 yeah. Um,
Yeah.
but I think to answer your question about what lies ahead now, I think I want to take some time just to rest a bit in the first maybe week of Jan or so. I have we have our bookings business, Stereotype Talent, and then we also have a sound business, sound hire business that I run, and then with the radio shows and the music and events and the black ties, doing a lot of corporates and destination weddings. There's a lot of things, and then I'm also doing some campaigns that are still coming out with a few brands. That's all. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a busy day. There's a tight schedule. There's a tight calendar, and I think a lot of the things always look easy because you post that picture and you're kind of just standing there.
Right.
Or the song comes out and it's like, oh, cool, that's a cool song. But I think, just the preparation, leading up to the point where the product and the art goes out, I think, that's the part that I'm fully engaged in and fully, busy with. And I think for next year, it's about just figuring out, how what gets 100% and what I can, kind of draft out, because I feel currently like, we just all going, because we never know also when you're going to get, if the country shuts down again. Last year,
Right.
this time, I mean, we lost easily about 8, 9, 10 shows over December,
Oh,
including New Year's Eve.
oh
Um,
no.
and that's just how it goes, man. So I think we're all in this kind of flow now where we just got to do as much as we can, So I think I want to step away from that next year and just put a bit more focus and less, less of that running, more just
Yeah.
walking. That makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
but definitely more music lined up for next year. I got some hot stuff that's coming out that I just need to get back into the studio in, and I'll probably get back in Jan and just get back in. I got some nice R&B vibes coming out. And then the radio show, God willing, will continue in the way it has been and just grow from strength to strength. I'm just claiming that. And
It's
yeah,
been
man,
claimed.
and yeah, and I think I just want us all to move forward, and I want us all to scale, and I want us all to keep smiling while we're doing it. I think because success and growth and all the things we wish for is one thing, but being happy whilst achieving that is another. So I just wish both the best of both worlds for everybody.
Okay. There's some holiday wishes, some festive greetings for you all from Chad Saaiman, wishing that happiness with the success at the same time, shining a spotlight on the fact that it's not always like that. Well, Chad, we're super excited for what's coming out soon. Peachy is an absolute banger. I literally wore my orange
Thank
today because
you.
I was
I
trying to
saw that.
support the
I was
Peachy vibes.
I was gonna say, I was like, man, like I didn't want to bring it up earlier because I didn't want to just assume, They say you should never assume, but thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
It's the little things. It's the little things. We always out
Absolutely.
here trying to support. And I
Absolutely.
know my mom is here. My mom is tuning in. She
Oh
also,
man.
just like you talked about
Hi
your dad.
mom.
I
Hi
know
mom.
yes, my mom and my dad are also like super involved. Every Tuesday they're here watching NIKKI BANZ live. And
I
this is
love
actually
that.
her
I love
dress.
that.
So thanks, mom.
Thank you, mom, for the dress. Thank you for NIKKI BANZ as well.
Exactly. Okay, let me use these last couple of minutes, Chad, to give shout outs to the fans. Let's look at these questions that we got. I'm going
Okay.
to read some of them. Okay, so Zach Koopman is just saying hi, Chad.
What's up, Zach? Hope you're good.
I love it. We've got Kim saying, glad to know you're still into soccer, Chad. # Spurs.
That's my team. I support Tottenham Hotspur. So yeah, shout out to you, Kim. Soccer's
I
I
love
think
that.
always going to be connected to my heart. So yeah.
Right? Always. And then we've got Hillary Lamb who's saying Cape Town loves Chad Saaiman. Aw, that's
Thank you.
fantastic. We
And I
do
love
though. We
Cape
really
Town.
do. Don't we all? Shoot, don't we all? Okay, so now 2 proper questions, serious questions now. Gwen Christie is saying, Chad, what was your inspiration for you to start with music?
I think, it was about a voice. When I was younger, and the folks who will know me well, I didn't like, I speak a lot now. I have a lot to say. When I was growing up, for most of my, when I was getting a bit older, I was generally shy. I was a shy kid. But when I was comfortable, I would be like silly, funny. We would laugh. I'd be crazy. But for the most part, I was a shy kid. And I think and I was also like, I know this is a strange thing to say, but I was pretty short. I was like, and anyone that was at school with me, I was like the smallest kid in my class most of the time.
No
Like,
way.
yeah. And I got taller, obviously. I shot out when I got to varsity. So I was a late bloomer. And I saw Mishka just commented here from Burwood Road, Crawford. That's exactly where I'm from. That's the road I grew up in. And I think I was a shy kid unless I was very comfortable. And I think when I started singing, it allowed me this almost like a different kind of voice that I could use to step outside of. It was like a superhero when he would change into his cape and become that person. And I think music gave me that opportunity to step out of the shadows and step out of the shyness. And at that point, and it was much later when I realized that music was actually my opportunity to create change on the people for the people on the other side. But back then, it was for myself as a shy kid needing a voice. So I think that was the inspiration at the beginning.
Wow. And I think it's really cool that looking back and reflecting back on that inspiration from the beginning, seeing that it was like something for you that brought you this joy and allowed you to just emerge and thrive. But then also it's something that brings the rest of us so much joy listening and dancing and participating. It's really this reciprocal, relationship with the music and with the sound. That's incredible.
It, man. That's it.
That is it. Okay, we got a couple other questions in here. There's one that says, this is from Valentino asking, is there a goal that you really still want to achieve?
That's such a good question, man. I had this conversation the other day where, we become so busy with the process. We become so, engaged with the execution and the planning and the scheduling and just life that we more often than not don't take that step back and think about. And that is one of the things that I'm gonna do when I take my rest time in Jan. I really want to be able to really just redefine the goals, because you end up just, the goalposts shift, right? They shift. But also you end up achieving them, and then you just move on so quickly because you're like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, now you get onto this chart and you get to number one and you're like, oh, I want to get on a bigger chart, or you want to get on a bigger radio show, or you want to do a big event with more people, and you just go and you go, and then you stop. Sometimes it's easy to stop dreaming. And I think, one of the, I have this one thing that I still, I want to do. And it's, I don't know if anyone has ever seen, Apple Radio. And that's where there's a guy called Zane Lowe. He basically has conversations with Adele, Bruno Mars, all of, and I think I placed that for myself. That's the one thing I placed for myself that almost feels unreachable, but I'm saying it's not, and I know I can get it. So that's the one thing at the moment that I know is a dream to get into that space.
Ooh, okay. Well, you heard it here first on NIKKI BANZ Live. Chad Saaiman interviewing Bruno Mars, interviewing Anderson .Paak, interviewing Adele. We're gonna put all that good energy into the universe for you and manifest.
And you know what, Nikki, like, as I've been saying this, and then what happened is, I mean, I don't know if you saw, I got to interview Craig David about 2 months ago.
Yes.
And it's crazy because since I've been talking about wanting to be in that space, it's coming to me, man. It's coming.
I'm telling you, that's how it happens. That's literally how manifesting works. I think some people think that when you manifest, you just say, okay, I want to do this, and then it's just going to be dropped into your lap. It's not like that. You say you want to do it, and then you keep hustling, you keep working, you keep grinding. All of a sudden, these things start to happen.
They start to happen,
Hold
man.
up. I interviewed a superstar. Hold up. Now I have a
Yeah,
live show. Hold up. Now it's
yeah.
Beyonce, you know?
I'm taking that one. I'm taking it. I'm taking it.
Take it. Even me, I'm trying to interview Beyonce here on Nikki
Yeah,
Band's Live. So we'll
you
put that
will.
into the universe
You
too.
you will, man. It'll happen. And I think as long as we work towards it and we keep the energy positive around it, and we keep sharing the journey and the story, that's why these conversations are important for me. And obviously, thank you for having me on the show.
Oh my gosh, of course, of course. Thank you for coming on. Any final words here as we close out today's edition of Nikki Band's Live?
I want everyone just to try and always be present in the moment. And a lot of the time, I, I especially on Twitter, like if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see I'm often posting, things with quite a positive narrative and advice. And sometimes I'm giving myself advice, man. And sometimes I'm telling myself, like, Chad, be present in the moment. Chad, pay attention to the little things, or Chad, and I think when I tweet these things, I want to share it because someone else might need to hear it. But I think being present, and I think one of the pertinent things I mentioned earlier was my wish for everyone to not only see success, but also see happiness with success. Because more often than not, you see one or the other. I know a lot of very successful people who are not happy. I know a lot of very happy people who aren't traditionally successful. And all of us have a different definition for success. For some, it's monetary, financial. For some, it's achievements and accolades. For some, it's just pure joy, happiness. For others, it's family and generations and reproducing. And I think whatever your definition of success is, it's great, and just go out there and go get it, man, and just do it with a smile on your face, and let's just share more kindness and try and do one thoughtful act or an act of kindness at least once a week, whether it's buying some food for the guy you walk past on the corner. You've been walking past that guy for months, man. Like whether it's once a week or now and then, just doing that little thing, and you don't have to tell anyone about it. But I think it's just sharing those things and the narrative around us doing little things, knowing that small differences will make a bigger difference.
Ooh wee!
Yeah.
You get the DJ horn for that one. Thank you for such beautiful parting words, for reminding us to be kind, to be thoughtful, and to do the things that make us happy on that journey to success. So Chad, this has just been so incredible. Thank you so much for hopping on Nikki Band's Live. I hope I see you around Cape Town one day very soon.
You will.
Congrats on Kiki. Congrats on everything. We're sending you so much love, and happy December.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and just keep up the good work, man. Nikki, I'm sure I'll see you around somewhere here as we do, and have a fantastic evening further. Big thanks to everyone who commented, everyone who just listened in for the entire time. You took an hour out of your time to listen to this conversation, and I appreciate that.
Yes, I do too. Thank you so much, everybody. Whether you're watching here on IG Live, on YouTube, we appreciate you tuning into Nikki Band's Live with the one and only Chad Saaiman. And we'll see y'all next Tuesday. Bye, Chad.
Later. Bye-bye. Bye.